Like I said, I spent $148 last week. A good portion of that clothing that I bought was stuff for my shop. I have a whole nother video on here that's showing you all the items that I selected for my shop that ultimately are now free at this point. Hi everybody, it's Kimmy. I am just following up to my last video about how I get free inventory by consigning through a few different platforms, but ultimately my last video was about Plato's Closet and me trying to get to my $148 that I initially spent at the bins. So just to kind of recap, when I went to the bins last week, I made a few different piles while I was shopping. There was a pile of items that I'm going to put into my closet, my Poshmark, my eBay, and my Mercari store. Then there was a pile of items that I was taking to consignment, which being Plato's Closet. Then there's another pile for children's consignment. I have a 2.5-year-old daughter, so I do children's clothes just, I don't want to say as much as I do adults clothes, but it kind of makes sense for me to also do the kids consignment since I'm regularly going through kids clothes. Anyway, and then I also had a pile for ThredUp. So ultimately I took a bin of clothing it was a bin and a tote bag full of shoes to Plato's Closet yesterday. And I also took it was like an overflowing bin of clothing to Once Upon a Child, which is a kids clothing consignment store in my area. So anyway, I took those bins there yesterday and I went to actually 2 different Plato's. I went to one and whatever they didn't buy, I took to another one and they gave me a pretty good payout too. So I just wanted to kind of go over how that went for me because honestly it went really well and I'm super stoked on the results. So I took my stuff to Plato's Closet yesterday and the one in Boulder gave me $108. So I only needed $40 after my first stop to ultimately get all of the items for my shop for free. So I went to then Once Upon a Child, the kids consignment, and they gave me, they gave me $64. So I had already gotten back more than I initially paid at the bins. When again, at the bins, I also have the items that aren't even accounted for at this point are the ones going in my shop and the ones that are going to ThredUp. So I still have a whole nother pile of clothing that I'm going to try to make money off of at this point too. So anyway, and then I went to the other Plato's Closet and they gave me $54. So by the end of the day, I had already profited $78. And so again, the items that I picked for my shop are now completely free, plus some. The items that I'm taking to ThredUp are going to be pure profit. Again, basically my whole initiative with everything that I'm doing, people say you're running around a lot. This is a lot of work. This is a week later and you're getting $78. Like that doesn't make sense to be waiting so long and doing all that work for $78. But the bigger picture is that the items that are going in my closet are now completely free. I remember whenever I would sell items when I was mostly sourcing, even at the bins, but mostly at like thrift stores like Goodwill, like the actual stores where I'm paying $3, $4, $5 an item. I remember thinking, okay, I just sold this item. How much did I pay for it? I kept like a log of all my items, how much I had paid for it, just so I made sure that I was making the right amount of money for how long it was in my shop. Just making sure I'm covering my overhead, right? Making sure I'm running like as a business should. But once all the numbers kind of like boiled down, it was getting to the point where I was like, this isn't working, having this much money tied up in my inventory. I would look at my bins of clothing and be like, that right there is like $5, $6, $7, $1,000 worth of clothing just sitting there. And it's not, just as a mom, when you see money that's just sitting there, it's hard. I looked into, when I became a mom, I looked into many different avenues of ways for me to make money while staying home. And a lot of them required an upfront, you need to buy all this inventory type deal where it was like a couple $1,000 investment just to get started. And that just was not okay, that just didn't work for me. I'm very frugal. I'm a penny pincher. I'm very careful with my money. So that just didn't make sense. So once I realized that I could have that financial freedom of having no money tied up into my inventory, it just made all the sense in the world to me. Now when I pay out at the end of the month, that's how I do it, is I just at the end of every month, I pay out my Poshmark, my eBay, and my Mercari just so I can kind of do it in lump sums like that. So now when I pay out at the end of the month, it's like pure money in my pocket. There's no math to be done. I just know that inventory is completely paid for at this point. It's really nice, honestly, that I'll Tuesday go to the bin, spend $150, and then the next week I'm depositing. For example, like this week, I did a $220 deposit into my bank, so that my cost of goods was ultimately wiped out, plus I had some money already on top of that. So once I discovered this way to do it for me, it just made all the sense in the world. So I just wanted to be a help, a guide, just kind of give people, if you're looking for the resources, they're out there. I just wanted to be a resource for the people that are looking to do this, especially as a mom, a young mom that wants to stay home with their child, but also not having a paycheck is not an option for me. I need to do something. And so I just, once I came up with this idea, it was a total game changer for me. But anyway, if you have any questions or anything, feel free to reach out. I really appreciate you guys following along with me. Please follow me on Instagram for more like real-time updates. I have my whole day saved in a highlight reel on my Instagram, so you can go back and watch my play-by-play of what happened that day. It's Kimmy Smalls on Instagram, Kimmy Smalls Poshmark, Kimmy Smalls on all the platforms with 2 Z's at the end. So thank you guys, I appreciate it.